Good evening, everyone. This is Vasu here. I'm happy to invite our ex-boss L Ravichandran to start this forum. Hopefully, it will be useful to all of us. Over to Mr. Ravi. Thanks. Very short introduction.
Thank you, guys. I think there are a lot of interest. I'm sure your kind of people will join. And I know that after I have retired from Tech Mahindra, that the artificial intelligence has always been a very kind of favorite topic of mine, right from the days when I did computer science 45 years ago. And I never expected that within my lifetime I would see the Chat GPT kind of thing. But there is a big dilemma. That is where you guys who are working in the industry many more years to go, because you guys need to carry the torch forward. And that is the idea of AiThoughts.org, where we can have like-minded people talk about it and say how you can help your company, your customers in actually utilizing this technology. So that's a plan. So I will use the PPT as more of, I'll just tell a few things. Just some of you may not have, obviously everyone knows about AI, but bear with me on the first talk. And so I just wanted to say, when I say that there were AI 45 years ago when I did my computer science, I think AI has been there for a long time, but it has gone through its ups and downs. And there will be a term used, which you can use it with your customers also, called AI winter. So what happened that it started at the end of Second World War when the computers become famous. And then there were a lot of discussions and basically philosophers, computer scientists, everyone talking about, can machines think, can robots become like humans, etc. And then there is hardly nothing happening. And then till about just before the end of the century. And of course, you know how with the 2022 November, the OpenAI, it really got into the next phase of the AI. And so it has been going on. And 1953, in fact, Professor Turing, Alan Turing, who was, he really helped the Allies, the British and Americans, in breaking the German codes to win the Second World War. So he's the one who, somebody asked him a question saying that, when do you think the computers will pass the test to be called human? And then he designed this test, which says, if I'm talking to two people, both are in closed rooms, I'm talking through only messaging. I think teletype those days, but right now you're allowed to talk only in WhatsApp. And at the end of an hour, end of 2 hours, can you tell which person is a human, which person is a computer? If you cannot tell, then that computer would have passed the test. And so it has been going on from 1953, and even philosophers, is called the Chinese room thought experiment. So there is a person sitting in this room with a giant Chinese dictionary, thesaurus, whatever. And one Chinese person is giving some questions, some thoughts, and putting it in a piece of paper. And this person looks at the dictionary and puts his answer out. Just because he is correct, does that mean that the person inside knows Chinese or he understands Chinese? What is the meaning of understanding Chinese? And so a lot of these philosophical things came up. And one thing which is clear, I was ancient enough to work on punch cards. And one of my early projects were actually doing hard wiring on what is called the first generation of hardware. You hardwire to do programming, and it will do obviously limited things, to now the digital 5th generation, 6th generation. We have gone from assembly level coding, even now some people are doing assembly, to the kind of Python and Java, C++ which we are doing. Everything has become analog. But one thing fundamentally has not changed till the advanced AI is that we give the requirements. We write the software which we think meets the requirements, and that is where we have software bugs. And then the computer is become smaller, less expensive, faster, but it does not become smarter. And if you tell them this is how to calculate interest, it will calculate this is the interest, this is the EMI, and it's not going to question you if the EMI is coming wrong. So that is the biggest change in artificial intelligence, that you write a program depending on the requirements, you give the input data, you get the result. That is what is, whether it is digital, mobile, IoT, internet, and embedded programming, all the kind of advances. The fundamental thing is we are the boss. We have to write the software. But I think that is what is basically changing, that you give the data, and if you have past data where you know the output, or if it is easy to get the output by manual calculation, so give the output and the data, and how the result is arrived is learned, and the logic is derived by the machine. So that is the biggest kind of difference. And that is where the questions of ethical questions, what it is going to do, how it is going to do, those are the questions which come up. And why did the impetus came? Because we know that we need to have faster machines. You cannot have a data center having one full floor of Tech Mahindra office. That is what we used to have. And we needed to give mobile access to people. You needed smallest devices, lights, cameras, and various things in the factories, offices, storerooms, to have internet connectivity, refrigerator. But what is the impetus was, there is huge amount of, with all the digital technology, you have chats, people don't talk anymore. They are doing WhatsApp, they are doing SMS, texting, and people are writing emails, social media posting. And the data from IoT, everything comes in image form, videos, still images, traffic lights, smart buildings, call center data, which most of us, we put it in archive, the actual call, the audio file, and nobody cares. Like if the government says you have to keep it for 15 days, we keep it for 15 days. 16 days, the data is erased, and the same disk is used for the next 15-day call. And so this data is available, and obviously the new problems which needs, how do you do better diagnosis for cancer and other very difficult diseases? Can you have genome based medicine for each one of us? Because the genome is itself is a huge amount of data. Self-driving cars, smart buildings, smart cities. So when you start getting into that kind of application, then it doesn't matter whether it is IoT, digital, you still have to rely on AI technologies. And this is the example is always given, that looking at the X-ray, can AI do diagnosis? So there are so many applications like this. And then the basic thing, supervised learning, is when you are able to give the output, what the AI guys call it a data label. Can you label a data? This is apple, this is banana, and then give thousands of apple photos and thousands of banana photos. And the AI model will learn. Next time I show a fruit, it will tell you whether it's an apple or a banana or it is neither. So that is supervised learning. Unsupervised learning is what now you see in the large language models like ChatGPT, etc., where you give massive amounts of data and it is impossible for us to classify and put wordings there. And the model will find patterns, find groupings, and find meanings out of basically connections, and then able to answer your questions. And of course, reinforcement learning is what is, how do you make the learning better, optimized? So if you do the right way, you get positive points. If you do the wrong way, you get negative points. The way you teach the dog. If the dog does something correct, you give it a treat. If the dog doesn't do something right, you give it a shock or something like that. So most of the kind of chess games, go-go games, they use this philosophy. And what are all these combination of technologies which are under the ambit of AI? Obviously, video processing, because to recognize a human being, to recognize a traffic light, we cannot write if then else kind of logic like the old system. So you have to give, so system has to recognize traffic lights, recognize kind of pedestrians, recognize other cars by itself. Video, images, looking at the product, whether the product is defective or not. And natural language processing, the way colloquially we speak English, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Bengali, and each one of us have different accent, different grammatic things, etc. So again, you cannot be writing a if then else logic like the olden time. So the AI model has to understand what you are saying, understand the context, understand the meaning, even if you spell a few things wrong, even if few of the grammar are wrong, like the way we are able to understand. And same thing, audio, text. So whether it is text, whether you write a WhatsApp message or you talk, how do you move it from speech to text? And kind of now the new thing which is called the large language models, and I have written a blog on small language model. A small language model has got 1 billion parameters. And some of you who may be used to linear regression and all that, five parameters, 5 dependent variables, and 1 independent variable, that is x1, x2, x5, and y is equal to, that itself is something we cannot comprehend. Maybe 2, 3, and now we are talking about billion. And 75 billion is what OpenAI, 175 billion is the ChatGPT 4. And their small language models are coming with 1 billion, which is, again, people are coming is, there's no point in giving all kind of junk information available on internet, kind of trillions and trillions of terabytes. And so can we give something which is more correct, more textbook kind of thing? So this is how the models are evolving. But huge amount of upside on technology. But when it comes to implementation for customer, that is what you and I are interested. That is where I will talk for the next few minutes. But before that, just to give you a little bit of a, what are the dilemma happening? In 1940 itself, Isaac Asimov, a famous science fiction writer, basically wrote a book. It's a science fiction book, But the laws he has written in the book has become like a textbook laws. And it basically says how a robot should behave, that it should not injure a human being, etc. And it should not have endurance, which is a Tamil movie where the robot built by Rajinikanth actually start trying to kill Rajinikanth. So it should not happen like that. And a lot of ethical questions come up. So you have a driverless cargo truck, there are no human beings there. Then the cargo truck value is very nothing. The cargo truck can be destroyed. But even if the mistake of the car guy with children in the car are coming in opposite direction, in the wrong side of the road, the cargo truck should fall on the cliff and destroy itself. That is what is required if you want a self-driving car which doesn't hurt humans. But what happens if there is one driver there and there are 4 people in this car with 2 children? So where will the self-driving, basically the train should go? It has to either go here where there are 4 or 5 young guys, and if it goes there, there is a family of kind of grandfather and 2 children. And so who will you kill? And these are the kind of nice philosophical questions which the AI guys keep talking about. And I am always been talking in my blogs about narrow intelligence and HR expert robot, a kind of a invoice processing, accounts payable, accounts receivable, and auditing robot. So it knows about how to match numbers, how to find discrepancies, rather than everything I know in the world like ChatGPT. You ask me about sports, you ask me about politics, you ask me about United Nations, I'll tell you about everything. But obviously, more and more, the research is going on the AGI, which is the ChatGPT kind of models. And let's forget about the consciousness. And I think the last few minutes, and then I want to hear from you guys, is when we are going to start deploying in 2024 and 25, 26, because 23 was a year of experimentation. And a lot of wow about ChatGPT, but a lot of people like Deloitte, Accenture, KPMG, DXC, they started developing methodologies, and Gartner started writing about this. ISO 9000, they started developing processes for AI, but hardly anything big happened in the production for enterprises. And so what do we need to do here? And so lot of issues on risk, because we don't know the logic. Why a particular decision is taken by the model. So obviously you get more and more into artificial general intelligence, like a self-driven car. Who is accountable if things fall apart? Who is accountable if there is a car accident and somebody dies? Who is responsible if my housing loan is rejected by an AI model? Who is responsible if I don't get admission into a college of my choice because the application process is kind of driven by AI? What happens if I don't get a job because the interviews are done by AI models? And who is responsible if image recognition model, I go to America, I'm standing in front of immigration, and so 3 cops come with guns and pull me in and say, your face has been flagged as a terrorist. And I have to prove my innocence I may rot in jail for some time. before they find out that it's an image recognition problem. So wrong image recognition. And when my job gets rejected or a college application gets rejected, housing loan gets rejected, can I ask and get answers on what do I have to do? Is my salary low? Is my job is not good? Is the industry I'm working in is good? What is the problem? Why you are rejecting? Can you explain to me why the decision was taken? And transparency, which is what people, whenever I talk, whenever I call up a call center, help desk, I'm asking to solve problem. I'm talking to somebody. Am I talking to a robot? Am I talking to a automating voice? And if I want to talk to a human being, do I get a chance? Even if I have to wait for 15 more minutes. So when you deploy application, people want to know that I have a choice to go to human. And fairness, if the data is biased because humans are biased, will my model become biased? And of course, human safety. You have seen once in a while data trickles in the news that kind of Samsung factory, one worker got smashed by a robo because robo thought the person is a box. He got into the wrong location and it went and crushed the box. And then he got crushed and he could not be revived in the operation theater. So all these questions are coming up, and the risk management and the quality groups are asked to check all these before things go into production. And explainable AI, the problem is more you make the model bigger, more number of parameters, more billions of records of data, the more it becomes a deep black box and you cannot explain why. And so how are we going to solve this problem? So this is a very interesting kind of problem. And for us, the whole process is coding is very small. If you can see somewhere in the bottom, label definition, data. And machine learning code is a small box. So when you develop projects, there is going to be a mix of people are going to be different. It is not going to be IT folks. If there are 20 people in the project, maybe 2-3 will be IT. Rest will be users. Rest will be psychologists. Rest will be ethics kind of people, philosophy kind of people. So it's a different kind of thing. So what is in it for us? Because we are all from IT industry. I think maybe later part, maybe April quarter or maybe July quarter, I believe things will pick up and enterprises will start demanding their CIO and the vendors to start giving AI solutions. And all the ERP, digital, IoT, mobile, whatever we have built, they will say, give me AI-based logic built in. So the pre-sales, sales, delivery, everything needs to learn a lot of new tricks. Quality and risk management, we talked about, it is a brand new broad game in terms of signing off a kind of a project for production. Data protection is going to be because a lot of data which is given beast, your type B status, the call center audio data, it is sitting in some archive. Email, never considered to be enterprise class. Now email has become a enterprise class because we are going to derive business logic from it. Then various social media, all images, audio files, video files coming from all around the place. So obviously, and the models are all outside models residing in some cloud, etc. So what are we going to do there? And of course, the IMS people, what kind of GPUs, what kind of cloud, how I am going to support these massive data storage requirements, data backup, data protection. And so IMS, IT, production support, quality, almost all the areas will change, and all of us need to get ready for this. So this is the kind of a background, and the AiThoughts.org. I have started it as a website just to promote, and a few of us, kind of few more thought leaders have joined. So we discuss, we write blogs, and we exchange information. And from this year, Divakar Menon, who's not here today, he had an urgent customer appointment, and so he couldn't join. So he started basically talking to customers, IT services companies and end customers, and looking at quality and risk management. So how do they start putting together their new processes and new frameworks? So they get ready, because many of the projects are stopping at pilot stage, because everyone get excited about technology and start getting into pilot project, but doesn't go live. And so commercially, AiThoughts.org will come and help you and your customers in trying to say, what do you need to do? And especially your SME type companies on the IT services space, we are also helping them to set up a new service offering. So how do you help your customers in the new areas? So kind of exciting opportunities. One group led by Divakar, he is going to be focusing on customer engagement. And of course, the other group where I'll be continuing to discuss, talk, and pass information about what is going on, and then keep you guys updated. And then thank you. And if there are any thoughts, questions from you guys, I could answer.
Thanks, Ravi. Very detailed and highly information for sure. I have one query. Okay, one question. It is more of more for myself. Okay, I would say. So we serve in education industry. We have our own ERP system for schools, especially the CBSE schools.
Correct.
Now, what is the impact it is going to have, or what nature of integration I am supposed to do?
Yeah. I think that education, healthcare, and these are the two top areas where the whole industry is going to radically change, because of the way the knowledge can be disseminated and searched. So on the education side, not so much on your company's ERP side, but it is on how it is going to be, what will be the professors teach, and what will be the kind of workshops, homeworks, and so how they can basically that the students can get so much of basically correct knowledge and information, not by just some blind Google search like before, and you get a lot of textbooks, but going into the chapter, verse, and then basically getting exact basic quotations, and say what are basically three philosophers, what are they saying about consciousness, and the kind of ChatGPT can pick it up from three books and give you that these are the different views of the three authors. And so the whole content and the content delivery, and so there is going to be basically very easy way, like the Khan Academies and Upgrade and Bijus of the world needs to completely change, because the original model is now no longer viable with the ChatGPT kind of coming up. And healthcare, obviously what started off as a BPO type image, the diagnostic, there used to be a lot of people looking at X-rays in India, Now they don't need to look at X-rays because the X-rays can be looked at by the model. So the X-ray review, CT scan, MRI, blood test reports, and the diagnosis. And so the doctors and the paramedics and various other pathologists and all that, everything is going to change. And so you have to be really looking at basically helping your universities to say, how do we cannot shun away, but how are we going to make it so that they can teach more? At the same time, it is not like universities have no role, but when it is available freely here and easily accessible, how we are going to mix and match? That is what a lot of people. Initially, the school started banning ChatGPT, and as the first reaction solution, say no, because the students are just getting their homework done by ChatGPT. Now they are saying, I know what ChatGPT will give. So the question I'll ask the homework to the student is going to be, which ChatGPT currently cannot give. But they learn the concepts more deeply. So a lot of changes, and I think you could become the thought leader and start running session. And so if you can collect some of your customers, and AiThoughts.org and your company can run a workshop.
Excellent. Sure. No, points noted. Thank you so much.
Hi Ravi, this is Yashwant.
Yeah, Yashwant.
I know you rightly said that the LLM space is anyway very crowded, and the push towards use cases, which one of your blogs also indicated, is going to drive the SLM market, short language model market, because it will be vertical specific, it will be industry specific, or it may be a use case in an industry specific.
Yes, correct.
So based on that, are you seeing any traction happening in the SLM space? Are people working on it, or it is still an early?
Yeah, it's still early. But what is happening is there is a little bit of difference. The way I was pushing for a very small SLM, VLSI type. So I'm still not interested in a billion parameters. It's still unimaginable as far as our human brain can think. And what they've done is they've done very obvious. If you read what these guys have done, the latest thing from Google is that they've agreed on a very fundamental flaw in OpenAI. Take everything from internet. You and I know 90% is junk. And lot of wrong information. And for example, if there are 20 articles on creation theory, universe was formed 5,000 years ago, then that will become, so there will be a competing theories are there. And it will basically lot of blogs, lot of people write things. So what they have done is they said textbook equivalent quality only I will pick up. So I'll pick up textbooks from universities, I'll pick scientific journals, I'll pick up blogs of reputed authors, newspaper articles of reputed newspaper, not one-sided or politically leaning towards one side or the other side. So I will restrict my input, but still it is general purpose. It is not like, but I am more focusing on what you said for business. Can we get something for human resource processing? Because world over human resource is 80% is common. There are country laws and there are companies policies, but there is leave, there is overtime, there is variable pay, there are benefits, there is 401k, there are retirement plans, and there are learning. And so if you look at an HR module of SAP, HR module of PeopleSoft, that is the best practice in the world. So, and people customize, and taxation laws will be different in countries. So, can we get an AI model which is like a PeopleSoft or a SAP HR module? HAP accounts payable, invoice processing, shipping, quality control. So each of those modules, and I think that is where the businesses needs to take interest. And more SAP, Salesforce.com, they're working on these kind of models. But unfortunately, the Googles and OpenAIs are still going into general purpose. They are still looking at everything, every domain, every vertical, politics, sports, healthcare, manufacturing, supply chain, everything. So that, but it's a good kind of restriction by saying that which is so obvious, because many of the problems of ChatGPT is because there is junk in internet, and it's going to take some time before ChatGPT understands that all the documents I've read, maybe only 10% are good. 90% I should unread. I should forget. And that is what is the next thing is going to be. How do you forget? Because of the copyright problems and all that.
There was another, you touched upon this ethics area. Now, ethics and other things would be followed, whatever legislations being put by European Union and India or this thing, they would be followed by people like, Google, Microsoft, who are businesses who have legal frameworks under which they work. Now, then there are these entities across the world, right, who do not work in this legal framework. So for them, non-ethical is ethical. So they, they, the danger of them actually, I read an article on a worry by a renowned, scientist and award winner about open source AI. So that it is open source LLM, you have all the source code available, and if weights are also known from the machine learning model, then they will tweak it and they will make that AI work for only non-ethical things, So
Yeah, I think yeah. Go
so
on.
in that thing, I'm just is there any way, any early thoughts going on in the industry how to control that, or it is like our current dark web, you just can't control it?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. I think if you look at it, only European Union passed an act. US, there is executive order, but many of the other countries do not have anything which is, and countries like India, we want to encourage use of AI for agriculture, for poverty alignment, climate change. And so, because we are not in the core LLM development, we are in the use case, and
Correct.
especially solving the billions of problems, like what Nandan Nilekani said in one of his speeches, that we have a digital infrastructure, payment infrastructure, and we can connect people. We have mobile infrastructure. So now we have to bring in AI so that it can reach the masses. But what is going to happen is that is where the Divakar Menon service offering, because European companies like Bosch or Mercedes-Benz, Johnson and Johnson, and various vertical biggies, they cannot afford to roll out AI and get into European human rights issues and others.
Correct.
And so, even, and it's because you cannot pass on the responsibility to OpenAI in America, because finally responsibility will come on Bosch, will come on Johnson and Johnson. You say you are using a technology, and it's a Johnson and Johnson application, and if they use it for clinical trials and they pass a drug and the drug creates a problem, and then Johnson & Johnson will be liable. So what is going to happen is there are existing laws, and I think that is the reason many of that AI for enterprise, that push is not happening, because 22 November, December, the ChatGPT 3 came.
Yeah.
1 year of 2023, no COVID, but where are the big AI application? Nothing. Nothing is
Come.
very few, not compared to like you have found like your atom bomb kind of, even Oppenheimer, even ChatGPT came, but not like every big industry has got major applications running, because everyone is still worried about what is the meaning of it, and they still and they say let's wait for 5, maybe there are more controls, and so that this is the only industry where the later versions will have less capability.
Correct.
Because we want to put brakes.
That is what I was also alluding to in my next point, which I would trying to make, and maybe a question around it is, if you look at the EU's AI laws, they have put a lot of restrictions saying that you need to tell us what data, you need to share test results, you need to do XYZ things. Then the latest directive from Indian government is that you can't just say that this is an experimental AI and throw it open to the people as an experiment, and then take the waive off or sign off from the as part of the agreement. Because none of us read the agreement, we say accept, 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 and go ahead. And then in the bottom there is a title. We said this is an experimental thing, so if anything goes wrong, etc. So Indian government says you can't do this. So all these governments getting with their laws, restrictions, and all, would we see another AI winter?
No, I don't think so. Now it is too warm for another ice age because of the way this has moved. And the benefits of people, all the politicians, governments can see. The benefits are enormous, because especially poverty, agriculture, and kind of reaching kind of people, healthcare, which is the most interesting kind of use cases. And so, but there is going to be breaks, but I think that it is not started off, because I will still say AI for enterprise, not even 2%, 3%, not even 5%, because your enterprises should be running, because, for example, TCS should be doing $3-4 billion projects out of their 12 billion revenue. So it is not happening.
Correct.
Because you can see the Indian IT industry, Accenture, IBM Global Services, because these are the guys who have to do the job in the end.
Correct.
And you don't see them saying, I'm doing $1 billion project, nothing. So it's a lot of experimentation.
Everybody is in a lab mode.
Yeah, everybody is in a, that is what Andrew Ng called it, the pilot to production paradox, that it is not going beyond pilot, because the risk management people, data security people, data kind of production people, everyone comes in, because nobody cared about the audio data saved in call centers in some archive.
Correct.
And now that is going to become your core. That will be like your SAP database, your Oracle database. Then data guys will come and say, no, wait, I'm not signing up. Because now I'm interested in data quality. I'm interested in audio quality. Why half the things cannot be heard, so the AI model may misinterpret and give a wrong kind of logical reason. So, and they will say, I'm not happy with the hardware you bought for storage, because it is easily hackable. I want you to put more kind of firewalls there. So who knows what they'll come and ask, because right now it is like a backend C-type data saved in archives. And whenever a police inquiry comes, they ask for some data, you give. But Now that becomes the core data. So a lot of preparatory work has to be done by the enterprises before it goes into production, because that is where, without preparatory work, they will allow pilot, but it won't get into scalable production.
Correct, correct.
Good, guys. Thank you very much. And we will use the recording. The recording will be available on AiThoughts.org. And kind of Vasu will take up your let's kind of brainstorm, you, me, and Divakar.
Sure. We'll discuss
what
in
we can
detail.
do.
Yeah.
And it's basically first education to all the administrators, all the big shots,
Sure.
and say what is happening to the industry, how this is changing,
Okay.
and how can you do. Then we'll spend a little bit of time on what can you do to your product.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Nice.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye.